Hi, I'm Kirby Allison. You may remember from one of our previous videos that I recently surprised my good friend Eddie Sahakian with the gift of his very first pure bespoke suit from the founding tailor of Savile Row, Henry Poole. The virtues of a bespoke suit cannot be overstated, from the choice of fabrics to the unparalleled fit to the durability and longevity of the garment itself. I believe it is fair to say that once one has experienced a bespoke garment, it is hard to go back. One of the greatest joys in life is to be able to share one's passions with great friends, so I was absolutely delighted to help Eddie in what is definitely a significant milestone for any gentleman, and thrilled at the opportunity of sharing with him my passion for bespoke clothing, as he has so generously his passion for cigars with me. But then it occurred to me, why stop with just the suit? If Eddie is going to go full bespoke, as one says, he is also going to need a proper bespoke shirt. The importance could not be overstated. And in London, of course, there is no better place to commission a fine bespoke shirt than at Budd Shirtmaker, located right here off of Jermyn Street in the Piccadilly Arcade, just a few minutes walk from Eddie's own place of business, Davidoff of London. So in today's video, Eddie and I are going to visit Budd Shirtmaker, where I will be delighted to introduce him to my cutter, Darren, and where Eddie will be measured for his very first bespoke shirt. We've got this beautiful bespoke suit, pure bespoke from Henry Poole. But it wouldn't be complete without a proper bespoke shirt. So I thought I'd introduce you to Budd, my shirt maker here in London, and Darren said he would certainly take care of you.
You are spoiling me, thank you.
Darren.
Kirby.
How are you?
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back in London. And,
Excellent. Good to have you back.
Do you know Eddie Sahakian?
Eddie.
Darren,
Lovely
what
to
a
see you.
pleasure to see you and to meet properly. I know we've been acquainted before.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you guys know, I mean, it only makes sense, I suppose. You know, both, establishments here, kind of Piccadilly Arcade, Jermyn Street, St. James's.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm a long-time admirer of Budd.
Yeah.
And no doubt we've crossed paths.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to have another shopkeeper from the area supporting us, and hopefully we can look after him as well. So,
well, as I kind of told you on the phone, I mean, I kind of surprised Eddie, with his first pure bespoke suit from Henry Poole.
Excellent.
He's been so kind and generous in sharing his passions. I just felt it was time to reciprocate in proper form. Oh. And so Simon at Henry Poole and Tom are doing just an absolutely incredible suit for Eddie. And I thought, well, we've got this beautiful pure bespoke suit. How do we stop there? He really needs a proper shirt. Mm-hmm. And where better than Budd Shirtmakers here in the Piccadilly Arcade? So I insist on also, making this package deal. The suit comes with the shirt. Maybe a few, because we need more than one. But, there's really no better bespoke shirt maker here in London than Budd. And Darren does an exceptional job, as he's done for me on several occasions.
Very kind.
It's really, I must admit it's an honor to be able to kind of make this proper introduction, because, you guys have been working, less than 100 yards from each other for, decades.
Yeah. So much. Can I say what an honor it is? I know the brand very well. My father's a customer. I've heard about the reputation. Kirby, you're the gift that keeps on giving. Like the best cigars, you just keep smoking and keep getting better. I'm so humbled by your kindness, by the introduction, and really honored to be entering Budd and actually getting measured up for my very first bespoke shirt.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I think that's the thing that people forget, as Kirby sort of rightly said. You get this beautiful bespoke suit, and then it can be let down with just a run-of-the-mill shirt. So
Yeah.
I think one with the other just sets the whole thing off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, and the precision of the two together, because I mean, so much work goes into really tailoring the measurements of the sleeve length, and the way that the jacket sits on the collar. That if you have a closet full of a bunch of different shirts, that is going to be all over the place while your suit is consistent.
Yes.
And so it's going to produce the appearance as though your sleeves have the correct length. Et cetera, et cetera. So, one of the greatest virtues, in my opinion, of the bespoke process is that reliability, that consistency. That every single time you go to your Poole suit and you pull out one of your Budd shirts, it's going to fit perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Yeah, for sure. So.
I know that you always ultimately get it right, but this is part of the bespoke process.
The process, absolutely. And I mean, you're aware of it, and so is Eddie as well. So
I'm learning.
yeah, and
But I can attest for Darren. I mean, he nails it.
Thank you. That's really kind. Really kind.
It does beautiful work. And so I was just thinking, this is Eddie's first shirt. I mean, we're in your hands here.
Yeah.
And so, kind of, what would you recommend? I mean, we're doing a dark gray kind of charcoal herringbone suit.
Yes.
And Eddie's kind of signature is the full Windsor knot.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that probably needs to be taken into account.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's some other details he'll be able to integrate that.
Well, in general, I love a lighter fabric. I have a tendency to get quite warm, even in cold London weather. So if that can be reflected, that would be amazing as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the same as you. I run warm, whether it's December, January. I'm still the same temperature. So yeah. I mean, I think what we want to do is, for a first shirt, I always say, like a nice white or a light blue is always something that's useful. Charcoal greys, both will work.
Yes.
Both will work. A white shirt is the best shirt that you'll have in your wardrobe, but a nice kind of pale blue works with the greys, also works with navy blues, slightly different blues, and sports jackets as well.
Yes.
So there was one that I was thinking, just to make it a bit kind of different, you've got the white, but this one here is a nice ice blue.
Ooh,
this one.
I like the look of that. Let's have a little feel there. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's a. Please forgive my ignorant questions. That's a cotton, and it feels like a very fine cotton.
Yeah. So this is a Lumo. This is a Swiss mill who produce everything themselves. They grow the cotton. They produce it themselves. It's tried and tested. We know it works.
Yes.
So it makes my job easier when you've got something reliable like this. So this isn't the colour. I think we should possibly look at the light blue, because it's a good all-rounder, as they say. These are the different qualities of cotton. So, you've got the 2-fold 100, the 120. The higher the number, the finer the yarn. So the superior, it's not inferior. It's just their kind of entry level. It's very good cotton. It's a good, reliable shirt. It's the workhorse of the bunch.
Yes.
The other ones, they're beautiful. It'd be easy for me to stand and say, "Oh, you must have this 170. It's wonderful." It is a nice shirt, but for special occasions, if you had one of those and wore on a weekly basis, it wouldn't last you. So this one is going to be, a good quality cotton, but it's going to have a bit of kind of, robustness to it without being heavy, for sure. So
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, I'm wearing a lot of my clothes at work. Like it or not, I'll be moving around and probably making a mess as I...
Yeah.
excellent.
I mean, one of the kind of misperceptions in a book like this is that, you have an entry level and something that's not entry level. I mean, everything from a Lumo is fantastic. And so in another brand's book, this would be, their high end.
Yeah.
And as someone that has experimented a lot with different weights, I actually have found myself going back to, the heavier weight, like 100 by 2, because it holds a press more throughout the day. So on a long day where you're working and you're in front of customers, I mean, sometimes I'm in front of the camera all day, you need something that's going to hold the press and that isn't going to just kind of wither, kind of wrinkle, throughout the day. And then there's also, there's kind of a body to it, right? Where, I don't know how you'd explain it, but I mean, you feel the shirt without it, certainly not scratchy. It's not restricting.
Yeah, there's no man-made fibres in it. It's all cotton. It's high-grade cotton. You know, it's like anything. Like if you go to Pools, there's wool and there's wool, and there's cashmere and there's cashmere. It's the same as cotton. You know, they use the same cotton for all of their fabrics. You tend to find some people use a lesser grown cotton for the entry level, and then use something high grade. But they use the high grade stuff for everything that they produce, so you get a much nicer feeling shirt. And I think, as Kirby will attest, you know, that the longer you have these shirts and you wash them and wear them, they just get better and better and better and softer. So yeah, I mean, people, you know, are reluctant. Well, I got these shirts 6 years ago. Don't really want anymore because they've just become comfortable now, sort of thing. So yeah, you look after them, they'll look after you.
Yeah, can I ask a silly question? I know with suits you can sort of, you know, bring it back after some years for it to be refreshed and sort of, you know, if there's any frays and so on to be dealt with. Is it the same with a bespoke shirt?
We can do. If you're knowingly kind of going to come back with it, if you're going to knowingly want to do that, it's always my suggestion to have some extra fabric put in your pattern or have some extra collars made. Yes. Because blues are notorious for fade. Doesn't matter. It could be from the same bunch, but detergents and everything else and washing, it will lighten it. White, it's no problem. It's optical white. It's that sharp white.
Where would you put the fabric? That's an interesting kind of...
In the pattern. Paper pattern.
Yeah.
So we can put like a piece in there.
You wouldn't be like adding it onto the shirt, you know, anywhere so that it's cut out and then therefore matches from a fading
that was
perspective.
a real old thing years ago. What they used to do is come in with the shirts. So it's all right, I'd never take my jacket off, and you cut a panel out the back. Yeah.
This is why men literally would never take their jackets off.
So rather than, you know, so they'd use that. So the front of it would be the correct material. Yeah. Be some wild tartan underneath or something like that, and then a bit of tartan in the back. So it was something that they used to do, cutting out the tail.
And is this where the kind of like the bankers' collars and cuffs came from with the contrasting white?
Yeah.
Collars and cuffs was...
Yeah. It was originally that, you know, and then it was kind of adopted by the sort of finance guys, kind of Gordon Geckos and stuff like that. But a lot of people shied away from the white collars and cuffs purely because they thought, well, it shows I can't afford to buy a new shirt, so I have to get them repaired. But it's not the case.
But in the English tradition, that's actually, you know, saying more that...
Quite.
Well, great. Well, I mean, explain to Betty a little bit the bespoke process. I mean, I know that bespoke shirts, the process is a little bit different than suit making. I mean, the reason we're doing this kind of midway into the process at Poole is that it's not as extensive in terms of the number of fittings. But, I mean, if we're taking measurements today, kind of help us understand kind of what the road ahead of us looks like.
Yeah. So we'll do a set of measurements here. They're quite conclusive. There's about 20, 25 measurements that we take, and figuration as well. We'll make you a sample shirt. We don't have the luxury like tailors do of letting it in, taking it out, picking it out. We have to make it as a finished item. Yeah. So we'll make you one shirt in the fabric that you order. I think that's important as well, because some people do it out of another fabric, but I think it gives you an indication of how the shirt's going to fit ultimately. So we'll make one. It will need work. There's always kind of bits and pieces that we can improve on. So we'll probably have another run at it just to get it so you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. And once we're at that position, we can then keep your pattern on file and have as many as you need at any time. And I can always pop down to Davidoff and drop some patterns at your desk, and you can have a look there. And
when you do, we'll have a cigar. Promise me that.
I probably need an education on that, but I'll be in the correct hands anyway.
So where are these shirts made?
We have a cutting room upstairs on the first floor, which is unique for London. You know, a lot of it is kind of farmed out and other workshops and stuff like that. So I see you, I cut your pattern upstairs, I cut the shirt upstairs, and then it goes to our workshop in Andover in Hampshire. So we have it's more of a hands-on traditional bespoke process. It's nothing, you know, fancy. Cardboard boxes, it's got your name on it. And every time you come in, we give you a new number. There's a number that goes in the back of the neck, so we know exactly when you were in. So
one of the things that I really appreciate about Budd is this provenance. The fact that, you know, Budd has been here for over 100 years, doing the work right here in the Piccadilly Arcade for over 100 years. And for over 100 years, the shirts have been made just up there And the fact that this tradition continues today the same way that it's been done traditionally, I think is one of the things that, for me, in my mind's eyes, makes the provenance of a Budd shirt, I think, one of the best here in London.
I think it's...
The romance, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it fills people with a bit of confidence, that we're here and it's cut upstairs and they come in and see the same person. And, there is that kind of like, oh, Darren or John's my shirt maker sort of thing, and James is my shirt maker. They love to say that to people, but I think the confidence of it being here and knowing that it's us, it's unique, as Kirby says.
Well, it's this integrity that you find in Bespoke.
And may I ask, how long have you been with Budd?
Oh, nearly 15 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
were you doing shirts before that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I started my apprenticeship at Bowring Arundel in Savile Row.
Okay.
Many years ago now. Nearly 40 years ago.
40 years, wow.
And we were the only shirt makers on Savile Row, so there was no conflict of interest. We get customers from Poole's, Anderson Shepherd's, because they were next door. And,
Yeah, so you're in good hands here.
Absolutely, I can see that. For sure.
Yeah. And we filmed actually a factory tour at the Andover. So if you care to ever see how the shirt is made from beginning to end,
well,
you can see that.
I'd love to do one day, and I'll make it a drive there to see it. I'd love to visit it as well.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
So really, that's where the magic happens down there. Is the girls that we have making the shirts. So.
I don't know, it's pretty magical upstairs also, but
kind of.
Well, great. Well, so what? I guess measurements.
I think we need to kind of get some measurements done and go through it all with you.
Wonderful.
You don't really need to do much. Just kind of stand there and look great, and I'll do the rest. So
the look great part is difficult.
Normally he's used to just standing there like this.
Well, they don't let you do that here anymore. So be more than happy. But we'll do that for you. So let's take your coat from you.
I think it's more fun as a
thank you very much
bystander than it is
Kirby.
Going through it.
Yeah. So if you can just loosen your tie and sock button for me, please, just so I can get in there and.
Darren, don't tell anyone, but I never do up my top button.
That's all right. As long as we know these things, that's the thing. I mean, we'll always make it so it fits you anyway. But if you do it up, great. If you don't, it should still look sharp. So.
Thank you very much.
Is there a reason you don't like your top button? Or?
It just feels constricted. I feel like I'm being choked. It's probably it started about the time I got married.
I can relate.
So does that feel okay as a size?
Yes, it
there?
does. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So collar sizes are a real personal thing. Some people go, I would never wear it that tight. I'd never wear it that loose. So I always kind of bow down to what someone's comfortable in. So okay.
And again, with Darren, and with the Bespoke shirt, you can have the collar made to fit looser, and then especially with the full Windsor, he can give you more tie gap. And so maybe the reason you previously would have left a collar unbuttoned may not be necessary because the collar is built specifically for how it is you wear it.
It's very true. So the tie space as well. It probably is a reason, but we'll factor that in when we make the shirt. Wonderful. And when we try it on, you can have a look with the Windsor knot. So, okay,
thank you very much.
Just raise your arms for me and relax. So I'm just measuring you. This isn't how it's going to fit. Okay.
How busty am I?
Well, you look after yourself. So we need to give you a bit more room through that lower chest, not necessarily on the chest, but just through here.
Got it.
So it doesn't kind of break open. So that's what we want to.
Maybe the true answer is in a few years, whenever you retake these measurements.
That'll always remain with you and I. No one else has to know.
Yeah. I'll try not to suck in too much.
No, that's fine. Honestly, that's perfect.
One of the things that I've since learned is to not insist on having your garments made to trim because they can't add fabric.
No. It's practical is probably the best way to describe what we want to do for you. We want it fitted. We've got a nice silhouette that we can follow, but anything too constricted, it just doesn't look like it's a bespoke shirt for you. So, because of the job you do and at a desk, we need to give you room through there. Because you're quite big in the chest, room through the chest, but a nice kind of shape through there is what we're going to aim for.
And I lift cigars with both hands. So.
got all that covered. We'll have all of that
Top
covered.
shelf.
So just your feet together, please. The more information we get now, the better it is going forward and making the pattern. And it's a good reference point later on.
Yes.
You say, oh, Darren, I think I might have lost a bit of weight, put a bit of weight on, or something like that. And we can always kind of go back, I'll measure you and say, no, it's all's okay, not worry about that. Or I think there's a little bit that's gone on. So, but as I say, we'll keep that discreet amongst ourselves.
Thank you very much.
They always blame it on the fabric, don't worry. How many measurements did you say, Darren?
So we look to take about sort of 20, 25 sort of different kind of measurements and figurations as well. So, the more information we get now, the better it is making the pattern. So, okay.
And you're hand drafting these patterns upstairs?
Oh yeah, from
Paper and pencil?
from scratch, just a sheet of paper and a pencil. It's just all drafted from scratch. So, okay.
You have to be an artist as well.
Well, yes, So, if you just completely relax, that's better. That's better. So that tells me your shoulder drops.
Okay.
How is he? Is he even?
He's not too bad. There's a little drop on one of the shoulders, but that's normal. It's
Nothing like my drop, right?
no.
I didn't see a shoulder drop.
Well, it's a good tailor. Good tailor. It's the work of a good tailor.
Okay, and are these going to be double cuffs or button cuffs? What's your preference?
I tend to wear buttons, so unless it's a big faux pas, I think I'll continue with button. It's a more practical finish for me.
Do you like 1 or 2 buttons on your cuff?
I don't mind. I leave that to Darren's discretion.
I think one. I'm a firm believer of less is more. Some people like the idea of 2 buttons. It makes it look a bit bespoke. But I think we'll start with 1, and we can always change it later on down the line. And this is your normal watch?
Yes, or similar.
Okay, that's fine, because we'll make that left one a little bit bigger for you, just to accommodate that.
There's no point wearing expensive watches these days, so swatch it is.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Some of those Swatch watches are pretty collectible.
Oh, true.
Yeah. I mean, what is the Swatch series that you've been
So
collecting?
this is the Omega one, Swatch and Omega collaboration, but they've just released one with Blancpain, based on the ocean, the Sea Dweller, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. That came out 2 days ago, so I'll be starting a new hunt.
So if we turn around, we're going to get some measurements for the sleeves and everything else. So what we want to do is we don't want it falling off of you, but we still have to give you enough room through here. You are quite broad through the shoulders, through the lats as well. So we need to take that into consideration.
I've been doing pull-ups for the last 2 years in preparation for this moment.
That explains the upper body strength.
It does.
And do you cut a split yoke?
Yeah, I mean, that's traditionally what we do. We can do a one-piece yoke if someone wants it. Doesn't really serve a purpose. Sometimes when you've got awkward shoulders, it can help, but 99% of the time. We get some people who like a one-piece yoke when they've got like a more casual shirt. Yeah. So, yeah. But we can do all that. You can change your collars and...
Well, what is a yoke?
This bit that runs across your shoulders.
Ah, okay.
Yeah? So that's the bit we don't want sort of falling off too much. Mm-hmm. We don't want it too tight either, because it'll just restrict your movement. So,
got it.
And because of the knot that you tie, I've got a good collar which I think might work for you. It's a variation on our kind of bank collar. So what it is, it's a little bit deeper, not comically. You can turn around now, Eddie, we're done with the back. So what that will do for you, it gives a bit more height at the front, which is great because you've got that nice kind of longer neck, and it will accommodate this full Windsor quite nicely for you. Semi-cut away. So what that'll do, when you've got your jacket on, it should sit under the lapels of your jacket quite nicely. It's one that I kind of worked on for about a year, because a lot of the kind of guys around here, the hedge fund finance guys, they wanted it to be, you know, good on its own under a jacket or a sweater, so it sits up quite nicely, but equally with a tie. So it took a bit of getting used to, but we found it, and I think it'd be really good for you.
So is that called the Darren collar?
It is actually, yeah.
I love
it. My skills of naming things, you know, creative writing don't stretch that far. But I think it'll work for you. But it is a fitting, so when we get it, we can say yay, nay, make it bigger, smaller, put longer points. So that's why we make the sample. It's part of the process that we can get right and look at the bits and pieces that we need to do.
Yeah.
For it.
And one of the best parts of the bespoke process, again, is the fact that even the collar shape and everything can be modified. I mean, truly bespoke. So this is where, you know, once we get your fitting shirt, you know, you can truly kind of give the feedback in terms of how you like it. Is it comfortable?
And I have to say, I'm learning so much just in this process, and it makes me think about the detail. So many elements of a shirt I normally wear, I don't even think about. And as you talk, I'm beginning to clock, oh yeah, of course, oh yeah, there's so many parts to it, like a good cigar. For me, I'm always comparing it to a good cigar, all the elements that make up a good cigar.
Yeah, and it has different characters and stuff like that. Sure. It gives it a different kind of feel, I presume. So, but I mean, so I think what we'll do for you as well, you've got a raised hem on this shirt, flat hem, because it gives a nice clean finish all the way across the shirt.
Wonderful.
Like Kirby's wearing.
Lovely.
I like it because it's nice and clean, and although the pleated placket gives a little bit of body to the front of the shirt, kind of helps control it, I think that this is just
it's a nice clean finish. All the best people have flat hems. So.
You persuaded me.
I said that because I'm here.
And I think as well, we'll give you a button in the gauntlet on the shirt, because that just closes it up quite nicely there. And we'll look at it together and see what we think. But when I do the collar, it's based on that Darren collar, if you like. But I always kind of do something a little bit different with it, just because it makes it your collar. Then people go, why did you do that? I just, it makes it your collar, and then they try it on. They go, oh, yeah, actually, it's quite nice. It could only be 1/8 of an inch somewhere, or a bit more tie space or a bit less. So just and then we can develop it together as well. So
and I mean, is this kind of the tailors call it the rockabye, where you have the measurements and you have your formulas, but at the end of the day, you're using just freehand intuition.
Yeah. It's these are the best tools of the trade.
Yes.
When you're measuring someone, you can kind of feel things that you ordinarily wouldn't. But when as Kirby says, when you're making a pattern, you can just feel it because you're drawing it freehand with a pencil. You can kind of feel it, and you go, well, that didn't feel right. You stand back, have a look. You go, no. So you do it again. So it's rockabye and feels definitely that. So.
Yeah. Well, great. Are we done?
I think we're all done. Thank you so much, as always. Kirby,
I'll grab your jacket.
Thank you so much.
Absolute
a huge
pleasure.
honour to be here with you.
No, my pleasure.
Thank you.
I can't tell you how excited I am for this.
As am I. Thank you very much.
And this is going to be another example of the sum being greater than the parts. So, Henry Poole, Budd, it's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Kirby, I love it. Every time you visit, I get a new amazing addition to my life.
I'm so thankful to finally, be able to reciprocate. So this is, this is what I love. This is what you find in London. I mean, just like what you and your father provide, on the corner at Davidoff of London, this incredible service that has persisted, over the decades, and in Budd's case, a century. I mean, you only find that here. I still find it, I find such magic in the fact that it is still done the same way today as it's been done for over a century. So anyway, it's as much a pleasure for me to share this with you as it would be if I was here myself. If anything, even more of a pleasure to be able to share this with a great friend. So, thank you for allowing me.
Pleasure.
I am honored.
Yeah, thank you, Darren.
Thanks again.